James, thank you so much for joining me today. What inspired you to become a pro-life lecturer in TV and film?
What inspired me? Well, obviously my faith, being a Christian, and it's something that I stumbled into, to be honest, where you're unaware of what's really going on in society, and I happened to come across a programme on YouTube relating to it, and it sort of opened my eyes up to the fact of what I wanted to do, and it sort of guided me down that path.
And what led you to being pro-life? Were you always pro-life?
Not pro-life in the sense of being part of a movement or an organisation. I've always had that within me, since I always believed that, yes, you should always stick up for people and defend people.
Of course.
And I always remember my mum, she loved children. And I always used to wonder why she loved children so much. I've now taken that off her, where there's a deep passion for children within me. And when I first experienced what was happening, coming from where I came from, we didn't hear about things like that. But obviously when you get in the circles and you start getting, and I realised, no way they're doing that, they can't be doing that. And then when I got involved in the SBUC and I seen what was happening, it was like, wow, that's no way. And what else can you do but respond to that in a sort of, obviously being a Christian, you've got to do it in a loving, caring way. You've got to remember that they're not our enemies and things like that. We're there to sort of help and get involved that way. So that's how I got involved.
Fantastic. And how does your pro-life beliefs influence your TV and media work?
It's very difficult when you work with an organisation that don't hold those views or those values, and they have a totally open, everyone's equal and all those sort of things. But when it comes to certain things, they're not equal. Maybe just the way you feel within these places, where there's been obviously examples of people who've spoken up and lost their jobs and things like that. Not that I'm afraid of that, but you know that you're going to be isolated, you're going to be all the things you normally go through when you start being different to other people. So it's not encouraged. And to be honest, I don't really speak about it because you don't know what the other person, where they're coming from. And no one ever brings it up, ever.
Yeah. And yeah, you mentioned you had a Christian union on campus. How did that go for you? And did you face censorship with it?
Well, when I first went to the college, obviously being a passionate follower of Jesus, I realised that there was nothing at all in the college. And I thought, wow. So that's why I started that up. But the college, to be honest, have been all very helpful. They've never done anything at all on that way, because we stick to the gospel and we stick to talking about Jesus. So the message is always about love. So it's not about controversial things. Because we don't want people leaving that room and saying, oh, that Jesus, they're talking about this or that. Because you've got to separate, obviously, the gospel from the SBUC work.
Yes, yeah, it's different, yeah.
But we're desperate to talk about it. We're desperate to, but that's not the sort of, because God does say use wisdom. So that's not the place, because all you're going to do is get controversy. And from that, nothing good's going to come of it. You're not going to make any difference. You're just going to...
Yeah, I think that's so important as well, praying for wisdom and asking for that wisdom. Because, you know, how do you balance personal beliefs with academic neutrality when you're teaching? And I think that really needs to be given from above sometimes. Would you agree with that, or what has been your experience?
Well, obviously, the Bible teaches you that we're growing in faith and we're growing in grace, and that you're always faced with that challenge of what you really want to say. But what God says, no, you can't say it that way. Every good thing comes from God. So when you act in a loving, caring manner, that you're doing what God commands you to do, and that includes not just fighting for young babies and things like that. It's anything you do as a Christian. But it doesn't mean you shy away from getting involved in things. I'm not saying that, but because Christians are already prepared, not just Christians, other people as well, to fight for what they feel is right.
You have to be ready to give an answer for what you believe in as well. And obviously as Christians we do that, share the truth and love. I think that's important. And going back to the pro-life theme of film and media, do you see many films or TV shows with that pro-life angle in it?
To be honest, no. And that's why it's very surprising and very encouraging as well when obviously the last youth conference I've seen, I've said before, I know this is not related to in a way, but when I've seen all those young people, because to be honest, sometimes you can get a bit, not afraid, but a bit, but when you watch these young people gathering together, and when you go back to what we see, you're hoping that young people might come through and make films. They might start producing stuff. And because I'll be honest, if I allowed that in my class, there'd be an uproar.
Oh, okay.
There's certain subjects you're like, oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
And I don't want to mention other ones, but that's one of them where, because you don't know who in your classes has actually had an abortion.
For sure, yes.
And that's why it becomes now, you're stepping over the line away from your job. And then when you go to TV, you go to the media, people won't touch that. Because as you know, the way the media works, it's all about getting people to watch your films, money and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's obviously being part of the SPUC, you'll see it where you want to see it. I'll come watch programmes you're in and YouTube, so I can go there.
YouTube is great for sure for seeing different pro-life themes as well in media or film. And what advice would you give to students in the creative fields that want to pursue pro-life themes in their work?
Well, the girl with the SPUC concert, I think, I can't remember her name.
Is it Delphine? I think you mentioned earlier.
She kind of said that unless you go out there and do it, you'll never have conflict.
Yeah.
So my advice would be is to remember, we stay in a democratic country. We have got rights and we should pursue any subject as long as it's done in a way where we're not trying to get to people and trying to hurt people. We should be able to highlight things as a young person.
Yes.
And that's why it's encouraging when you see the conferences that they get that inspiration. And if they ever come to my course, I would encourage them. If they said to me, James, I want to do a video on that, fine. Because other people do videos on the other side.
Exactly.
And on other things, which is fine.
Fine too, as well, yeah.
But when it seems to come to that subject, it's not fine.
Yeah, they want to censor that message as well. They don't want to get it out. And would you agree then, is it becoming harder to hold pro-life beliefs in academic circles?
I think it's always been hard and always will, because you're going up against the mainstream. As you say, we seem to come across a tight, even in the church, not just the mainstream. You get in the church where you're quite passionate and strong, and people as if, why are you really worried about that? And you tell them why. And that's the way it's always going to be. And I think it takes a lot of courageous and brave people to be part of the SPUC and to keep encouraging other people. And yes, we'll always, because you say you're not employed as a lecturer or a teacher to because I wish I'd known the answer to this, but how many schools would you think, or universities are called, cover this subject in any way? I can't think of any, ever. Yeah. I can't ever think my grandkids come home or my kids saying, oh, Dad, we spoke about this today.
Yeah, I don't know either. But do you think, have there been any students that have changed their views upon meeting you, upon chatting with you in the college?
I'm not sure they changed their views, but obviously I don't withhold what I think.
Yeah.
And I do it in a way where, as we say, use wisdom. You're not trying to beat them over the head, but I believe you have to get people to think at least. So when they come up with these views, I'll say, well, what about this?
Yeah, have you thought about this? You're sowing the seed, basically.
Have you ever seen the development of a baby in the womb? No? Well, why are you so adamant that that's the right way? And then if you say, do you want me to show you something? But they'll not watch it. Or they'll not want to see that after 18, 20 weeks it's a baby.
Yeah.
And you'll find most of all, like most things, is ignorance. And I'm not against, if I was a young person and I went with the flow, it's hard to go against the
grain.
I know that. And so we have to be very gentle and very loving and kind, and to show them that we're not your enemies. We're sticking up for it. And it's ironic because this might relate to me, but you watch all the news and all the stuff we see, and it's terrible people dying in Palestine and all that. But nobody ever mentions like 40 million babies on the mainstream.
Yeah, the other genocide.
Why is that? Why is it they don't say, yes, it's a woman's right, maybe to do this, but you know, but we're now seeing the consequences of that. Where they're now saying the population is going down and they're now starting to worry. So that's one of the consequences. We're now seeing the fact that we're getting rid of babies so quickly and so easily, and now they're starting to go, oh.
Yeah, and how did you react to the decriminalisation vote that happened there?
It's very sad that but obviously we live in a democratic country and people vote, and those people who vote, but we believe you're always held accountable for your actions, whether it's now or whether it's later, and that's very sad. It's very sad to think that. And it was a short debate. It wasn't really long enough for that topic, but it doesn't seem to be, for some reason, as if it's a serious subject. Maybe because I'm passionate about it, and sometimes you can do that. You think everyone should know about it.
Yes, yeah. So it's especially sad since 95% of the population don't want this. Like
Yes.
the public do not want this, and yet after 46 minutes, it was decided upon in Parliament, which is insane. I think people need to realise that. So, yeah, it's awful sad to see.
But we also understand with MPs that they've got jobs, they've got families, they've got all these things, so they would have to give up a lot.
Yeah.
But being a Christian, it is a bit different because you serve God and you believe God and you think God gives you the Holy Spirit to guide you. So I understand that. I'm not judging them. I'm just saying I wouldn't vote that way. And I can't get into their minds and hearts and think, why would they do that? And hopefully it's not just because they feel they have to do it because they're pressured. Some people do vote with her, and it's not till later on, maybe years later on, they look back and think, oh, why did I do that?
And speaking of the students earlier, you were trying to show them videos and they didn't want to see it. Is it worthwhile that SPUC do videos similar to that, showing the humanity of the unborn? What do you think?
Definitely. And it'd be nice to see how the SPUC apply to come to some of the open days in the college. Would they be allowed?
Yeah.
That would be something to be interesting. And
yeah, because we have the Alma Mater Fund that is specifically for colleges and universities all across the UK that gives help to women in crisis pregnancy. So that's a route that we could go down if we were to be in your college or campus. So we do look after our students. So perhaps that could be another way of going about it.
yes, well, hopefully, and I think that obviously resources and the amount of people at work, and to be able to do all this, you need people, obviously, who are talented and skilled. And it's a subject where you really have to be really careful.
Yeah.
Because as we've seen, you go into college, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you have to be ready for that
that.
voice. Yeah. And you mentioned Delphine earlier, that you watched her video, and it was encouraging to see so many people as well at the youth conference. Does that give you hope for the future, seeing so many young people as well?
I think there's a song we sing in the church, God will find a way, or make a way.
Yeah.
We always see God at work in these things. You watch these conferences and you think, praise God for that. Praise God for that young woman standing up there, being putting herself in the limelight, knowing what could happen, and then all those young people. Being older, we get so much encouragement from them.
Yes, it gives you kind of life again.
And hopefully they know that. Hopefully people tell her that we watch and because sometimes, if you be honest, sometimes you're fearful, sometimes you're apprehensive, and then you watch something like, you think, oh, right, get yourself out again and let's go on with the fight.
Yeah, I think in America as well, there's a big pushback against cancel culture, and yeah, do you think it's happening here as well?
Not yet in Scotland, because obviously we've got that law passed about a man is a man, a woman's a woman. The Scottish government seem to still be fighting that, and we've now got that women's group who are now taking action against that. No, it'll be slow, but I think eventually it'll come round. But we need to get back to our youth. We need to recapture the youth at an early age to tell them no, because they've been indoctrinated now for so long. I've had it with my grandkids coming home, like, oh wow, you learnt that in school. Yeah. And if you think about this, and if we can't identify what a man is or a woman, what kind of society have we now become? We can't. You think, well, how did we ever get there in the first place?
It's a good question. Yeah, I think that's a deeper question as well. I think it's scary to see the scale of how crazy it's gotten. But what can we do to give young people confidence in their pro-life views?
Well, I think these are doing a lot just now, and obviously we believe in encouraging people, informing people. What we've seen at the last conference is perfect, saying, no, you're within your rights to say this and do this. Because you're made to feel as if you have no rights.
Yes, that's a good point, actually.
And the young people are going about like that thinking, oh, I'm too scared, I can't. You go, no, this is a democratic country. You've got the right and the freedom.
Yeah.
As long as you're not obviously trying to stir people up and try to get at people, we do it in love.
Yeah.
Everything we should ever do is in love, and we know that.
So true.
And that's that's the main thing that the young people know, that they've also got us to support them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we can go back to me and yourself when we first met, when we stood outside the hospital, and the venom and the anger and the spitting of people.
Yeah, we got a lot.
And we were just standing there with a sign.
Yeah, offering resources.
Doing nothing.
Praying.
Which was all right.
Yeah, which was legal at the time.
See those people? Nothing happened.
Yeah.
So the police and authorities need to think about the reverse. If they're going to push us 200 yards down the road, what about the opposite side when people are breaking the law and being vile and that? Why do they get away with so much? But when people are standing there peacefully, which it's our right to do and which has been fought for over 2 wars, that they now say you can't even pray in silence. What?
Yeah.
How did we get to that stage?
Exactly, it's so far gone. And just going back to the young people's point earlier, how can we get young people together, like networking again for the pro-life message, and maybe perhaps those of faith, perhaps those with no faith, to come together and do great work for the unborn?
Well, I think that having watched that conference, they're all sitting in front of you. Those young people have to be, and I believe they're doing that, they have to be the way forward.
Yes.
Where they go back to their friends. Because when I was young, my biggest influence was my friends.
Yeah.
I didn't disobey my parents, but I would listen to my friends, and I'd do things I shouldn't have done with my friends. But my point is, who do we listen when we're young? Someone comes in and they're the same age as you, they're compassionate, and they're thinking about doing what they're going to do, and you say, do you know there's a different way? What do you mean? Well, I'm part of the SPUC and we offer... Oh, I didn't realise that. Yeah. And so that's I think that's the most strongest way we can do it. Obviously keep putting the message out and keep doing our little silent protests. But we seem to be getting, for some reason, the backlash against that is as if we're these bad people, we're these people that... But we in our hearts think we're doing the opposite. We're saying, no, we're trying to save lives.
Trying to protect lives here.
Protect lives.
Not take lives. Yeah.
And the question I would always ask is, why is it you've got to a stage where you can shout out a car at people, but you don't think about what you've done about half an hour before that?
Yeah.
So where's that mindset come from, that people are like that they just... And the other thing is, we seem to have lost the art of conversation and debate about it. Well, I'd like the man to park his car and come over and say, would you mind, I really hate what you're doing. And you go, well, I really apologise for that, but the reason we're doing it is this. But you don't get that.
You don't get that, yeah. You just get shut down or bullied into silence almost as well. And what ways, what messages can we share that would help fund, the pro-life message?
Well, I think we keep doing what we're doing. We keep doing it in a way where, as you say, we're not against people. And people got to realise we're not against you or your choice.
Yeah.
Well, actually the opposite. You can still go through what you're going to go through, which we don't agree with, but there's another way.
Yes.
There's also another way. What do you mean there's another way? Well, see, even if you don't want the baby, have it and give it to somebody else.
Yeah. And so what kind of content then would you like to see the pro-life movement produce?
Thinking about that, you need to think about where we're aiming at.
What's our goal?
If we're allowed it in schools, I don't think we are. I don't think... The message would obviously be aimed at the younger people as they grow up to realise that how precious life is.
Yeah, we go into schools now.
Good,
we have
right.
Emma going into schools giving talks, yeah.
Well, that's where you start, because that's obviously, if universities are really important, where we've got to put stuff together, as I said, to show these young people who are sometimes, as we know, well, I was a teenager a long time ago, you don't really know how to act, you cling on to your friends, and you're afraid to go against people.
Peer pressure, yeah.
But it's to show people, and I know you've told me this before in the past, where when you reach out to these people, they're kind of amazed sometimes that, I've found someone who is not like them, they're different.
Yes.
and to realise and also say that we'll also back you up. We're not going to bring you on board and leave you alone. So you've not just got me personally talking to you, I've got people behind me who will also, and it's always about support. And people, young people need to hear that and that message that, yes, I know your university professors mocking and talking and saying it in a way, but he's just been foolish. Because most good professors don't talk or they're not anti-stuff, they'll debate things. So sadly in universities, what we see mostly in America, it's really the professors and that who are passing the message on to so we need to tackle it that way where if professors are doing that or if colleges or universities, they have to be challenged by law. They can't do that. You can't bully and threaten your students or the people come, they've got their own views and their opinions and if they, and I'll give you an example, in my class, anyone can come to my class and have any view at all.
Yeah, you're pro freedom of speech, but I think there's a problem with freedom of speech in Scotland and
I defend it.
England.
And just say you were sitting there, you're the girl sitting over the class going, I think all babies should be killed. I don't agree with it. But if I found someone starting to bully, but I would be the first to stop that. But the kids are not getting that at uni. They're feeling isolated and alone, and then they're looking around as if, well, I better just
can't do this,
And that's something we need to use the laws and the rights that we've got to peacefully, quietly, and lawfully challenge these things, and that's the main thing we're facing.
We're facing like the hypocrisy of it all because some views are allowed and some aren't. They're just dismissed, and you're kind of bullied into compliance. You can't put your head above the pulpit or you'll just be shot down. And like you said, you would defend someone who's been bullied, even if they disagreed with you, because I think, and that's the most respectful way, and just being a decent person. I think it doesn't cost a lot to be a decent human being, but I think for some they struggle a lot, and I think it can be a power struggle as well for them wanting to be the bully at the end of the day. So it's about
And that's I think that's the main way we could encourage young people. You've got the right to talk. You've got the right to say, would you mind explaining that a bit more to me?
Please,
And what you'll normally find is they actually don't know what they're talking about, the majority. Yes, and you go, they'll go, that's the way I think, and you go, but why do you think that way? And I know this comes from God, that this is where you do these things, and then they'll go away and realise, why do I think like that? And sometimes you'll find they'll come back a week later and say, listen, I've been thinking about it and I'm really sorry. And then that's the dialogue starting.
That's where you'd have the conversation. And if you could look ahead in 10 years' time, if you had a crystal ball, don't want to say that as a joke now, but if you could see in 10 years' time, where do you think the pro-life movement would be?
I think with the people that I now know in the pro-life movement, there's a passion within them. There's a passion within them for what we see as a wrong. And yes, will there be conflict? Will there be all the stuff we're facing? I'll always be there. But what we're going to see is we're not going to go away. And I believe we'll keep learning. We'll keep learning as an organisation and a group, and we'll keep growing. But we also have to make sure God's with us.
Well, thank you so much, James, for your time today.